This is what we are actually seeing right now. This is in Hartsfield Jackson Airport in Atlanta. A lot of lines, a lot of frustrated travelers. Now, you know, you do typically see it's the busiest airport in the world, they say. So you are typically going to see quite a few people there. But when we're looking at this, man, that is a lot of people dealing with still those travel delays. So that is not at all what you want to be dealing with, especially when we have that possibility for more rounds of storms later today, which of course could cause a few more delays. The good news is this morning, in terms of weather-related delays at ATL, we're not dealing with any of those. We've got the green bubble on the map. You can see the flights coming in and out there. We've got a lot of green bubbles on the map starting off our morning, but as we've seen recently, you get those afternoon storms to bubble up, and that can start to create those delays, mount those delays a bit. Across the Northeast, same thing, lots of green bubbles. We love to see it. The problem is later on in the day when we have the storms bubbling up across the country, and it causes those delays to kind of domino, because, you know, it might be fine where you are. Weather could be perfect, but maybe where your flight was coming from or where you're going, the weather is getting messy. So we are expecting more weather-related delays across the northern tier, the Great Lakes region, down across the southeast as well. Maybe some more weather-related delays across Texas. So do just keep that in mind. Tomorrow, the same thing. We're kind of on a rinse and repeat pattern here. So many of the areas that are getting rain today are going to get rain and storms tomorrow as well. So you just have those delays kind of mounting up. You're going to want to plan for that and plan accordingly. Heading into Thursday, it's a lot of the same story, guys. I wish I could tell you things were getting better for some of our major hubs in the Northeast or for ATL, but we are keeping those chances for showers and storms around into the latter part of the week. So you're really not seeing it get any better. That means the people who have been experiencing delays and maybe had to reschedule could continue to experience some of those delays. It's not just weather related, but of course we saw some of those technical technical issues impacting us. They're anything but delicious. They're really terrible, actually. So hoping everyone by Thursday can get in the place that they're going. But for now, we're expecting some of those airport delays. Jen.
You hungry for breakfast there, Felicia?
I think it was a little bit rainier pattern, and it rained more frequently than I would have liked it to.
Like a sprinkle? A little heavier than a sprinkle?
It was a little heavier than a sprinkle, and it was a little more frequent than I would have liked. But I will say I was hiking one day, and we were getting like intermittent sprinkles, and I was like, this is nice. So yes. I tend to agree with Jim.
I know. At first, I was like, who's going to pick sprinkles? I'm like, actually, it's not a bad option.
It's not a bad option.
Yeah. All right. Well, you can vote and keep those comments coming. Go to Thread. Send us your comments, pics, and video using the hashtag YesTV. We do have more shower chances, but as is typical with the monsoon, they are isolated. Some of them come with problems. One problem might be too much rain at once. That can cause flash flooding on this terrain. Others can be dry lightning. You get the lightning, but you don't get the rainfall, and that can bring wildfire concerns. So let's look at the heavy rain that we've seen so far and what's coming our way. We do have some moisture poised out here in the western Pacific, and some of that gets lifted up into the southwest. And that will bring us an increase in the monsoon flow and monsoon storms that we're going to see over the next few days. Now, this is the time of year that we see that here. The North America monsoon definition is that it peaks in July and August. Most of the Southwest receives more than half of their annual precip from it, and hazards include the flash flooding, the lightning, and sometimes the storms actually kick up wind and dust far away from where the actual storm is. So we've got to watch for all of that. The flash flooding concerns, southern Nevada extending through Arizona and New Mexico, Vegas. I know you would love some rain in the area after all the heat that we've had here, but it may come with some problems. Shower chances generally increase through the later afternoon and early evening. We'll see that they're very related to the diurnal heating. We'll see that again on Wednesday and then again on Thursday throughout this entire area. So I guess the silver lining is, though, it does help keep our temperatures a little bit at bay when we do get the clouds and the rain. Felicia.
Side of the river in Queens at Gantry Park, looking back at the city with one of the prettiest views around. Now, fog and clouds are going to give way to rain and storms that are to stay and stick around during the week. Now, you want to be on the lookout for flash flooding, especially if you're, say, riding the subway. And speaking of subway, that rain put a damper on the Mets and Yankees subway series tonight and tomorrow at Yankee Stadium. Rain sticking around on and off. Not a complete washout, but certainly going to be a wet time. And that's really our story for, say the rest of the work week. You can see we've got light rain coming down right now. We're in the lower 70s. That visibility down to about 3 miles. So a little bit of light rain obscuring your view as you're heading out. Maybe take the rain boots and the rain jacket, as we're not done with the rain for today. And even better chances of rain as we head through the week. You can see a lot of our heavier rain has pushed farther north, seeing some flooding alerts starting to pop up there in Maine rain earlier this morning. Most of that heavier rain is going to continue lifting northeast and eventually pushing out of eastern Maine there. Watching this complex of storms diving south through Minnesota. Currently lots of lightning, heavy rain associated with this, maybe some gusty winds as well. That is going to continue its trek south after we already had a round of storms yesterday and last night. Here's our setup. We've got this trough. It's going to be swinging through. This is going to provide some of our energy to get those storms going heading into the latter part of the week as it swings through the northeast. Those pulses of energy, that trough itself, all going to help us get those storms ramping up just a little bit. That risk for an isolated severe storm or two around the Great Lakes region for the interior northeast. Now, our main risk for tomorrow with any of these storms that get going for Syracuse over to Buffalo down into Cleveland, it's going to be those gusty winds and maybe a little bit of hail, and then of course the heavy rain coming along with this as well. So let's time it out for you. You've got that rain across New England up through Maine. By 6 p.m., you'll notice, again, we're watching some of those showers and storms with heavier rain across West Virginia into Virginia. D.C., you'll get some of that action as well. And then the interior areas of the Northeast with some of those showers and storms. Now, watch what happens as we head through Wednesday. We'll watch as some of that energy starts to swing through and increases the coverage of rain and the amount and also the intensity. That's the word I'm looking for. The intensity of the rain as that swings through. So heavier rain could lead to a bit more flash flooding issues before all is said and done. Jen, it's like here and in the southeast, we're stuck in this kind of messy pattern for really the rest of the week.
I know it's going to be tough. You got to cut the grass here. Perhaps you just want an afternoon walk after work. It is going to be tough with the rainfall that we're dealing with, mainly because it's hard to plan around.
That's right. Meteorologist Chris Warren brings to light what you might not be able to see that's lurking in the fire zone.
We've had a lot of smoke, actually. When you see that, I mean, this is the smoke emission over the past 24 hours from some from fires in Canada, but really affecting not necessarily your breathing, but at least your sky cover all the way down through the plains.
Oh, yeah. You can see how far-reaching that smoke is. This is the smoke emission over the past 24 hours. It's been really bad. So yesterday, it's going to be pretty bad today as well. But the good news is we've got some relief in sight because of the pattern changing.
Yes. Now, there is some air quality concerns in Montana. In Montana, look, we've got multiple issues. One is the heat and the other is that smoke. And so we've got the air quality alerts that are up there, Great Falls, over towards Glasgow. And, you know, especially sensitive groups, you want to avoid outdoor exertion because that's when the air is going to be at its worst in the afternoon.
Oh, yeah. We've got that. Of course, we know air quality affects the way we breathe, but many factors, as Jen was just mentioning, can lead to that poor air quality, and concentrations of that ground level ozone or particulate matter are common factors, and that is what is being worse when you have all of the wildfire smoke and all those particulates in the air.
You know, it's interesting too because now particulates are at play here. It's not just ozone. Particulates can be a problem with people with heart disease. So you generally think if you have lung problems, you know, if you have asthma, emphysema, you have trouble breathing, that air quality is a problem for you.
Right.
But air quality is also a problem if you have heart disease with what we're dealing with, which is the smoke.
Yeah, and one of the things that's exacerbating this is the fact that we have just well above average temperatures. We're looking at 10, 15 degrees above average, and you can see when you have the higher temperatures, that can speed up those chemical reactions. So that can take what is kind of a toxic air mass and make it worse.
Yes, exactly. So let's look at the pattern and the weather that we're going to be dealing with. We've got the heat, that's for sure. Look at Helena, 102 today.
Oof. It is so hot out there. It is stifling. Now, this isn't something that you're, terribly unfamiliar with across this region. You know it gets hot. You deal with the wildfire smoke, but it doesn't make it any better. It doesn't make it any easier to deal with. 102 in Boise. Those temperatures are well above average and near records.
And actually, yeah, tying records maybe in Glasgow, 108. We're looking at Pocatello coming in close to a record. We're all within a degree or two of these record temperatures up here in Idaho and Montana and even spots in Wyoming.
Yeah, so it is hot. Now, as I mentioned, stifling heat, the smoke, all of that, it's pretty bad today. I'll give you that. That smoke is sticking around. But watch what happens Wednesday. The smoke is still kind of there. We start to see a little bit of relief because of that pattern switch as we head into Thursday and Friday. And I think a lot of people are going to be looking forward to that.
The wind direction is everything actually here, kind of helping. So some of the impacts and what you can do, stay indoors if possible. You might want to use a respirator outdoors here. And if you're driving, you want to set your AC on recirculate. So you don't want to bring the outside air in, you just want to recirculate the air you have inside.
Yeah, some of those can make all the difference. I have a just changes a filter in one of my air purifiers at home, and I was so shocked at just seeing how dirty that filter is. I'm like, that took everything out. So having an air purifier can make all the difference as well when you're talking about helping your air quality inside your home a little bit.
We have a big ridge of high pressure that's been controlling our weather for so long. We actually finally get a break from that by the end of the week into the weekend. A dip in the jet stream is going to bring some heat relief. So at least that is coming.
Yeah, that's going to switch our pattern a little bit and move that smoke along. And as Jen mentioned, so you'll get a little bit of a break from the heat and from the smoke. I think a lot of people are going to be literally sighing with relief from that.
Oh, it'll have you going outside here and hopefully enjoying the weather. We've also had the summer storms and cool days that are getting rained out across the south, even under cover a thunderstorm, keeping people out of the water, of course. I mean, look at this. This lightning obviously could still be a risk. That rain is just blowing in. So let's look at where we're going to see some rain chances throughout the south and east. We could use rain in the rest of the southeast. Felicia talked about Texas not needing it. No, not at all. There in southeastern Texas. West Texas, yes, but southeastern Texas, no, which happens to be where we're going to get some of the heavier rain. Now, across the mid-Atlantic and the southeast, especially the month of June was so dry. We saw the drought really continuing to develop across that region. And now we've got more rain chances. It's been pretty wet over the past week. It's going to be wet again as we look ahead to the rest of this week and into the weekend. Texas by far will get the most there and into Louisiana. But you see chances of 1 to 2 inches of rain throughout Georgia, South and North Carolina, Tennessee, even extending up into the mid-Atlantic like in Virginia, where we do need the rainfall. So that's good news. West, of course, also. This is our time of year to get the monsoon, to get those showers that come in. They can bring the problems, though, and flash flooding is going to be a possibility in some areas where we get some heavy downpours. Same thing in southeast Texas. Same thing, too, in the Carolinas just over the next 24 hours. Here, we could get some heavy rain. And, Felicia, that could cause some quick flash flooding on roadways.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be into work. I don't know if you're like me, but I bring about 17 bags with me to work. So when I
do the same.
When I have to carry in my 17 bags and my umbrella and my cup of coffee, I'm like, oh no.
I know you're not the only ones, right? You've got your work bag, you've got your bag of extra clothes for the gym, after you got your lunch bag,
right, exactly.
Your shoe bag.
Exactly. You've got all, and then the umbrella and the coffee. So
it does not work.
I don't know. Maybe a weekday when I don't have to carry everything with me.
I do not mind a rainy day on the weekend every once in a while.
Me too. Like a good split weekend where you can go out and do things on one day and the other day you relax and do laundry.
You can sleep, you can get stuff done.
Yeah,
go to Threads, send us your comments, also share your pics and video with us using the hashtag YesTV, and we'll be sharing on the show.
Hartsfield-Jackson Airport here in Atlanta. You can see here long lines, lots of people kind of just finding somewhere to be there in the airport. Frustrated travelers, of course, has been the story of travel, the last couple days since Friday. But you know what? It's not only the technical glitch. You've got to keep an eye on the weather because that has been causing some delays as well. I just want to remind you that, I know everyone's getting frustrated. Maybe you've had a couple different delays, a couple different cancellations, and that really is tough. But remember when you're talking to the people working there at the airlines that they are doing the best and you don't want to take your frustration out on them. Now, we love to see this year. Here's some silver lining in our travel. We've got a green bubble at ATL. You can see the flights coming in and out. It is fine this morning in terms of weather delays. Across the south, that is the story that we've got lots of green bubbles on the map. So we're not seeing any major amount of airport delays. Same thing across the northeast right now. That is the key to today. When those storms begin to bubble up later today, I think we're going to see this change a bit. So right now across the U.S., we've got lots of green bubbles, which means we're not seeing a whole bunch of airport delays anywhere. But watch what happens. Those storms begin to bubble up. We get some of those storms that are a little bit feisty, and we're starting to see some of our major hubs like in Chicago, in Atlanta, in Houston be impacted by some of those storms, which means we've got some weather-related delays possible later today. Tomorrow, same thing. Boston, New York area airports, again in Chicago, some showers and storms around, which is going to cause us some issues. And then wish I could say we were changing it as we head into, say, Thursday, but we are not. Many of the same areas that are dealing with that possibility for showers and storms, maybe delaying some of those flights. That is going to be the story for Thursday as well. Of course, it's not always about where you are or where you're flying from. Sometimes it's where your flight is coming from. Sometimes it's where you're flying to. So there are whole different things weather-wise that they're keeping track of. But, as bad as the delay is, especially when it is weather related, you've got a thunderstorm setting right over the airport. As bad as that delay is, Jen, they do it to keep us safe. They do it to make sure that we're not flying into any terrible weather or terrible turbulence. So maybe remember that next time that you're getting frustrated about dealing with a delay.
Right.